Welcome back to the Interview Experience podcast. I'm your host Chaitanya, and today we have a fantastic guest joining us to share his insights or navigating the interview process. I'm really excited for the conversation because I know his experience will be incredible, valuable, preparing for your next big opportunities. Today we are joined by Dhruv Sharma. Dhruv, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today. It's a really pleasure to have you. Dhruv, to kick things off for our listeners, could you please introduce yourself to our listeners? Tell us a bit about your background and what you are currently doing.
So I graduated in 22. Starting from college, I did some internships in analytics fields. First in Philips and then Canada got a chance to grade, which got converted to full-time opportunity. And after spending 2.5 years, I switched to Uber and then with Uber for like 7 to 8.
That's fantastic, Dhruv. It sounds like you had a quite an interesting journey so far. Thanks for sharing that with us. Okay, so now let's dive right into heart of our discussion today. You are recently gone through an interview process, and I am sure our audience is eager to hear about it. Could you please briefly walk us through your overall interview experience at Uber? Just a high level overview of how it felt and progressed.
Got it. So yeah, the overall interview experience at Uber was really good. Like it was very interesting, and it had around four rounds. And all the rounds tested me equally both in soft skills and technical skills. And so I think yeah, it was a really good process. So and I think one should be prepared for anything while preparing for interview for any big tech companies. And I think that really helped me to get into. So yeah, that's a overview. But start going into depth around the what were the 4 rounds. So first was a business full screen round. So it tested me a little bit on my technical skills and a little bit on my soft skills. Then after the second round tested me on the technical skills. Third round was mixed on the experimentation because since we are data scientists, so we need to do then some experiments, A/B experiments and all those things. So it tested me on that particular topic. And also tested on the last was the hiring manager. Now it was bit of behavioral, bit of your experience, like what you have done past, and also the some case studies, soft skills.
That gives us a great starting point, Dhruv. It's always good understanding the landscape before we get into the specifics. So, Dhruv, continuing on that thread, it helps our listeners immensely to understand the structure of these processes. Could you tell us how many rounds were there in total of the interview and what type of round were included, such as coding, technical HR, or anything else unique?
Yeah, so starting with the first round was business skill round. So it tested, so it's like preliminary round. So it tests whether you are, you have certain level of skills for this particular job position or not. So it can test you both on your technical skills and both on your product case studies skills. Second round moving forward. Second round was solely, on your technical skills, and third round was mostly on your if you have any experience in experimentation techniques, or like if your concepts are clear on experimentation, how to do experiments, like what if you can't do experiments, what kind of topics you can switch to prove whether the results are causal or not. So I'm talking very technical, but yeah, that's about the third round, and also followed by a product case study. And last was the hiring manager round. So it's kind of a fit round, whether you're gonna fit in this team. So it started with some behavioral, what you have done in the past, company, your experience, any interesting project you have worked upon, and also followed by case studies. So that's a little bit out. But I think most of the rounds had in some questions, related to what have you done past, any interesting topic or any interesting project you want to talk about, which you have done in the past or something like that. So it's always good to, prepare your CV and to be ready with some very few or basic behavioral questions. What are you going to do in the next 5 years? Why are you looking for this job? Why this role? Why Uber? Or like why any other company and something like that. So yeah, so that's surface level insights I can give you, and we can go deeper into each round.
Yeah, that's really helpful to know. Dhruv, now for many of our listeners, the technical and problem solving aspects are often the most daunting. Could you share some of key problems or questions you were asked during these rounds and were there any tricky or unique questions that particularly stood out to you? Perhaps something that made you pause and think differently?
Yeah. So basically, for technical, they'll ask you, whether you are proficient in SQL or Python, and like what kind of problem statements you want to solve. So I chose SQL. So in SQL, they ask questions related to joins, some window functions like lead, lag, and it was questions. Actually, I also don't remember particularly what was the question was, but it's something related to there was a data Uber related data, and they wanted to get some insights out of it. So it started with writing the code of it, and then testing it out whether the code will work fine or not. So it had a not very complex, but yeah, it's not very basic question. So you should be very proficient in joins, and how to or when to use window functions and all those stuff, and what kind of join you should use, whether left join, right join, other joins. So that was in the technical sense. From the products case studies, so product case studies can test you like for there is no any rule book to how to solve product case studies questions. But yeah, questions were really interesting. So first question I remember was related to RCA, like some metric drop by X percentage. How you gonna go about it? Other questions are related into market entry. What are you gonna do if you wanted to launch some product or something like that? How you gonna go about it? What would you recommend? Whether should we should launch it or not, and something like that. Yeah, I think those were the questions. So it's a very broader thing I'm talking about, but yeah, we can interview can go to each depth into any particular topic or any particular funnel within those questions as well. So that's about the product related. And also third, which I mentioned, is experiment related, like whether you are have experience in running experiments online, or even if not, whether you're clear about the concept behind the experimentations, causal studies, what kind of experiment, how to set up an experiment, randomization units. Like there's some sort of concepts. So yeah, so that is related to the three broader things where the interviewers or they test about your technical skills, product related skills, and experimentations.
Yeah, those examples really paint a picture of what candidates can expect.
Yeah.
It's actually insightful to hear about the question that challenged you. So, Dhruv, knowing what was asked leads us perfectly into how you tackled it all. Could you tell us how did you prepare for this interview? Were there any specific platform, book, or resources you used that you found particularly effective and would recommend?
Yeah, so I really didn't prepare for technical skills because I used to daily work on SQL related things, so I didn't wanted to spend much time on that particular aspect. But for the product related and for the experimentation related questions, for product I started with there's this YouTube channel Exponent with Exponent, so they are really good interview not interview experience, but the products studies they solve online. So I started with those. So it gave me some kind of structure, how to structure the problem, and what kind of problems we can expect, and how to frame your answers and something like that. So I went through that, and I started solving problem statements on my own to get a sense of how you should solve the problems. For the experiment related, actually at the time of interview I couldn't find any particular source or something to study. I just had my own experience running experiments in a previous company, so that was one. Second, I rely on ChatGPT to study. So I used to ask prompt, help me study something like that on ChatGPT, and it really helped me to really learn and practice that. But now I know there's a book, Trustworthy Online Controlled Experiments. So it's a really good book, and I think it's kind of a holy grail of running experiments. And I think everyone like who is preparing, or even in the particular role data sciences who run experiments on a daily basis or on a week, like it's in the job description, one should really read this book. So yeah, it's a really interesting book. So yeah, that was my strategy. And other was following internet sources, like if there was any past experiences, past interview experiences for this particular role or any other particular role in different companies in big tech, or which had a similar job description. And also yeah, from that I used to get a sense what can I expect from the interviews. So yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible practical advice, Dhruv. Knowing which resources provide valuable can save our listeners a lot of time and efforts. Dhruv, shifting gears slightly, your resume plays a crucial role in getting those interview calls. When it comes to your resume, what projects did you highlighted? And just and importantly, did the interviewer ask questions about your projects? If yes, which one specifically attention?
Yeah. So basically, to be honest, I had only projects from my college time. related to data science. So I did not get a chance to do some projects during my professional work experience. So mainly and the recruiter didn't not recruiter, like the interviewer didn't even ask the things related to project. As I mentioned, they just ask kind of things or what kind of projects you have done in the previous companies, like what kind of problem statements you have worked upon, and if there was any kind of project where you have been most proud of, or you the things where you have the team or lead projects from end to end. So mostly it was the projects which you have done in your previous companies, or things you have done in the previous company. So apart from that, I didn't do any kind of open source project I have listed in my CV. So it's mostly one or two projects that I did during my college days. So yeah, that is on the thing. But yeah, so there's also a Cadoo website where data science folks can go and collaborate with each other, also can contribute to the open problem statements. So I think one can also, go there and do a bunch of things if they want to, do a project or practice out of it.
Yes, yes, yes. Dhruv, let's go a bit deeper into the technical side. Can you tell us more about the technical round, or we can say coding now specifically? What kind of problems were asked? Where there are more general technical problems, or where they're very domain specific to the company or role?
Yeah. So basically, one should be very proficient in SQL. So there were a bunch of questions. Like it started with you will be given a data set, or there will be a bunch of rows and bunch of columns, and from that, interview will start asking some questions. First, it might be very not very basic, but yeah, one should be very first should be very easy. So you can just code it out either in your preferred language, either in SQL or a Python. Then you start getting complex. Then you start getting, involving joins, left joins, self joins, and also including the window functions and all those things. But it's not really about the, how, because interview will not tell you, what should you do? Like you should apply left join or right join or something like that. It's all about the questions, how you understand it, and it all depends on you whether you got the question perfect or not, and on the basis of that, what kind of applications you do. Like for example, it's really critical to understand what the question is asking you to do, whether the question is asking you to do a left join or a right join, or maybe a self join, or maybe it's it's asking you to apply some window functions to get to the output of what interview is asking. So that is one thing I would advise. Second is, it's not really about writing the very good code, or code with minimum lines in the first go. You can start with whatever you like, and then you can discuss your approach with the interview, and maybe you can write some efficient code later. So yeah, so in technical, you should really focus on what the question is asking you to do, and not, because interview will not spoon feed you like what to do and something like that. So yeah.
So, Dhruv, what perks you get in working at Uber, and what are the means benefits apart from the other companies you get in Uber that you feel more happy for that?
So Uber is a great company to work. It has a great work culture, and you really enjoy working at Uber, because I am really enjoying. So there's really interesting problem statements to work on. But from the perks, if you ask, like there's a fixed salary which you have, then there RSUs, the stocks which you get, there's annual bonus. Then there are different kind of perks, like you get Uber credits, to for a monthly basis. You also get well-being reimbursements and all those stuff, and a free lunch and breakfast in your office, and office is pretty cool. So yeah, so I think those are the perks which everyone should feel happy about it. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, Dhruv, we are nearing the end of our conversation, and this has been an incredible, insightful. To wrap up things up, based on your entire experience, what advice would you give to someone preparing for an interview with Uber company, or generally for a similar role? Are there any specific tips or things to avoid that you learned?
Yeah. So basically, while preparing for any company or any role, sometimes gets very overwhelming with all the preparation, what to. And I know, like, there's not a lot of stuff for this field, data science and other fields, as compared to the software engineering roles. So sometimes people don't get what to expect, what kind of questions I might anticipate, and something like that. So I would say, don't panic. Just try to stick to the basic. Start with technical skills, and start with product case studies and all those stuffs. And I would also recommend to give, if it's possible, to give interview someone, mock interviews kind of a thing. So who has been in this field for for a while now, because that will really helpful for you to get, what, how you're performing and what are the areas you need to improve on, and what kind of things you can, just skip, because you might already be doing well, and not just waste time on that. So yeah, I think that the advice I would give to anyone who's preparing.
Yeah, that's a powerful and practical set of advice, Dhruv. I'm sure our listeners will find insights invaluable as they navigate their own interview journey. Dhruv, this has been an incredible, rich, and informative discussion. Your willingness to share your experience of Uber from these challenges to the strategies is truly appreciated. Thank you so much for joining with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much. And it was really meeting you as well. So I hope everyone get an overview of what it's look like, and maybe it might be helpful for the folks who might be preparing. So happy to help.
Yeah. And to all our listeners, thank you for tuning in. We hope Dhruv's insights have give you a clear roadmap for your next interview. Remember, preparation and understanding the process are key. Thank you so much, Dhruv, once again.
Thank you so much.